say that Cain married one of his sisters. It does not, that place that you're trying to, what you're trying to do, you don't have scriptural backing for. That's what I'm trying to say. So who did Cain get married to? We don't know. We don't have enough evidence to point to who. And like this last caller did say, it doesn't really matter. So I leave it. But I don't like anybody coming to now say that he married his sister. That's a lie or a very unlikely event. So let's take more calls and please let people stay 30
seconds. Yeah. Hello, good evening. What's your name? Yes, we can hear you. What's your name?
My name is Joe.
Okay, George, you're welcome.
I want to say thank you for what he's doing for the people. I could have said that if it is possible, let us say showing yourself to the whole Nigeria, not only Lagos, because it's affecting to whole Nigeria. Please, I beg you, let him go, especially for the north side. We are still something that let's say this thing is going there and do something. Let's arrange his program to go to there and you will see that something will change for all. That is what that I want to say. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much.
So he wants my message to be in other parts of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That does make sense. I would appreciate that too. I hope it doesn't get too controversial because we just have a way of turning Daddy Free's message upside down. You know, Daddy Freeze too, he too does not try. He goes to talk about things that nobody else should be talking about really. But unfortunately, God gave me a brain, and in Acts chapter 17, the noble Christians were the Berean ones who went to check the scriptures to see what the apostles taught were there in the scriptures. So as long as whatever doctrine you are teaching, I cannot back it up, I will ask questions. I was trained to ask questions. I remember myself like little Christ going into the temple, listening to the scholars and asking questions. Nigerians just listen, we don't ask questions, and that's one of the reasons why we are where we are. I think we need to start asking questions. We need to start questioning things. We need to start questioning narratives. So those are the things that we need to work on. So let's take more calls and also more WhatsApp messages.
Hello. Okay, call back it up with you. Hello. Yeah. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Go ahead, sir. Mr. Koboko,
Okay.
go ahead.
Go on. Yes, please. Okay. You want him to stop?
Koboko man, we have to change Josu.
Yes, we can hear you.
Ada, I can't see you online. Oh, where are you?
Okay. Thank you so much, Kubokoma.
You know what, Ada? Um,
What?
a lot. Mute your Instagram mic.
Okay.
Yes, since they're going to be hearing you anyway. Have you muted?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, talking about Osu, Koboko man, I greet you, Mr. Koboko. Now, these are things that we need to discuss. And on Wednesday, right, Ada, we're going to have the discussion again. And
Oh, okay.
yes, and because due to popular demand, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the discrimination from one African tribe and one African belief system to the other. And we have quite a few people. Sandra is supposed to join us, hopefully. I hope I can get her before then. And some other of our colleagues who have had Osu experiences are going to call and share. So Wednesday is going to be quite busy from 11 o'clock. And Reno Omokri is also going to be joining us on Wednesday from
Okay.
10 to 11. So maybe we'll just move the Osu to Thursday then so that we can have a whole day to deal with it. What do you think, Ada?
Yeah, that would be great because I feel this is the problem that we should start with before getting into George Floyd and everything happening across. Let us deal with our.
Let us talk about our own Nigerian George Floyd scenarios.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. We have a lot of George Floyd scenarios locally that we need to actually talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So let's do that. Let's do that. I
Yeah.
wanted us to talk about lightning strikes. I think we've dealt with the pre-Adamites enough. Somebody asked, they said, who did Adam get married to? Sorry, who did Cain get married to when they said after Abel died? And the honest answer is no human on earth knows. There are many assumptions, there are many ideas, there are many theologies and doctrines, but none is 100% scriptural. And the worst of all of them is that he married his sister. That is, as far as I'm concerned, unrealistic, unreal, and unscriptural. Because there is no account of Adam and Eve having any daughter before Cain and Abel, after Cain and Abel, and before Seth. The only time they had daughters that it was mentioned in the scriptures was after Adam and Eve had Seth. So that daughter doctrine is really unscriptural and it's not something I support. So I think we can move away from that unless there's one or two calls who want to go that direction. So let's close it up. We also spoke earlier on of Governor Ikpeazu, who said that coronavirus can't come because God said, let me read how he said it so that I'll be politically correct. So I wouldn't say what the governor didn't say. And I'll say that if he is accusing governor wrongly. God has promised us coronavirus can't get to Abia State. And this was said on the 22nd of March. And this morning by 9 a.m., Governor Ikpeazu tests positive to COVID-19 and goes into isolation. So the same governor who, God forbid, couldn't have in the state now himself has it. You know, all these things are things that we should.
But don't you think he said that because of the state slogan?
What was the state slogan?
I think Abia is God's own state. Yeah.
Okay, but you see, we have to run away from all these narratives. We have to divorce ourselves from all these narratives. Everywhere is God. You say it's God's own state. Is yeah, yeah. It's just a narrative, because then you make people believe that then people are going to go around not wearing masks and believe that it's God's own state. And at the end of the day, can you not see? Does he
Okay, talking
himself?
about governor. Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, talking about the governor, there is a comment here. Good evening, Abia and Daddy Freeze. You can't blame the governor of Abia State for this statement. If Popo and Goat can test positive in Tanzania, why won't the governor test positive? Have we run a test on those test kits? We can't trust this system. After 14 days, you'll be discharged with the help of malaria drugs. This country, I shake my head.
Now, that does make sense. What's the authenticity of the test kits they're using? Yes, it does make sense. My problem is the governor should not make statements like that, because I believe they're retrogressive, they're counterproductive. If he had said, you know what, as a governor, he has to know his place, and he's not a spiritual leader of a state, he's a political and physical leader. He should ensure that politically and physically everything's in place, the state is running fine. That's my opinion. I may be wrong. Or what do you think, guys? So let's leave. Christ himself said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's and give unto God what is God's. Things that are of God, let the people who are of God deal with them. Our political leaders have not done so well to the point where they are finished doing their work, then they can now decide to start being intermediaries between the gods and the people. Do you understand what I'm telling you? They've not done. I don't think there's any Nigerian leader that I can rate 4/10. I have not personally, in my personal rating and my personal opinion, I'm yet to see a Nigerian leader that I will score 4/10. Everybody else is below 4, 1, 2. You understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
Even in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and many other things. So, my darling sister, let's take more comments.
Okay. Please, can you help me add the freeze where I can download his Sunday teachings on Cool FM? I overslept and missed his Sunday teachings yesterday. And I am not on Facebook. I normally record his preaching.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry about that. The teachings are available on Facebook and they're available on YouTube, youtube.com/Daddy Freeze Teaches. I'll tell you to subscribe. If you subscribe, and of course, use the notification bell, you'd get notifications of all the videos. So I'll advise him to go to youtube.com/Daddy Freeze Teaches, subscribe and hit the notification button so he can get notifications. And yesterday's teaching on Cool FM was amazing. I went in hard. I spoke about how the African narrative was twisted and how Africans were superior from, let me give you an example. We had the Kandake, the queen of Ethiopia, who was a powerful queen right from the book of Acts chapter 8. Meanwhile, England did not have a first queen until 1,500 years later. Africa already had queens. It is rumored that the queen of Sheba, who had a child for Solomon, is buried somewhere in Nigeria. So we're not supposed to be looked down upon as an inferior race. We're actually supposed to be looked up upon because civilization came from us. And I went in scripturally, and I also went in trying to talk to us to rework our mentality. And I did a bit of motivation. So I think it's a message that you should not miss. And for all of you, I'm on Cool FM 10:30 a.m. every Sunday. That's also a very, very wonderful thing to catch up with, and you'll be glad you did. So I hope I've answered that question.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Daddy Freeze. Good evening. I am Mr. Yusuf from Yanapaja. I am always happy to listen to you every evening. You are such a blessing to this generation. I wish people like you are still making in this country because you are not like those who are all the time telling people about things that are not of any use to their lives. I am hopeful that later or sooner, God will open the eyes of those who are yet to see what you've seen, for them to understand what you're preaching to them. For me, I am enjoying it. It's a great deal. Keep it up, please.
Amen. 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 A bit of news right now. The for Minister of State for Education, Emeka Nwajuba, has said that schools may reopen after the interstate travel ban has been lifted. You heard about neighboring countries that reopened and shut down again. You have heard about numbers spiking as a result of reopening the schools. Of all the things I would like to do, I wouldn't want to experiment with your children. You know, I was saying this, and I'm so proud of the minister for towing this path. What we're planning is to actually bring in those exit years first, as soon as those who are in charge of the blockade lift, because there's no way we can open our schools if teachers cannot come. So we're looking at sometime after this interstate lockdown is lifted, because we need to have that kind of openness for our children to move. Just a bit of news for you guys. So for those people who are asking questions with regards to when schools will be open, yes, sometime soon, but don't push it. Don't push it. Let's not put ourselves in trouble with our own hands. God bless you. All moving on to phone calls and text messages. We have, as in, we've talked about so much. You can literally call us and discuss on one of 15 topics.
Okay, keep the calls coming. 0700 993 993 993. Hello,
Uh,
good evening. Yes, good evening. Yes,
Good
good
evening,
evening.
sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Oh, wow. He played my message on his megaphone. Thank you so much. That's nice, sir.
Cain, because we have come across Bible where Bible writes that he said Cain his brother Abel. And when God asked him about Abel, he said only before God then called on him. And there is something that he pleaded. He asked God to make a mark on him that is the country that he
Nobody will kill him. That nobody will kill him. Who is the nobody that wants to kill him?
people and take the court for him. So now I want to, who are those people that he pleaded that he is upset of over there? That's my question.
Okay. Thank you so much for keeping it so short.
Absolutely, Abel. God bless you. There are Adam's other sons that he didn't know when he had. I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you. Who are the people that want to kill him? You know, we've got to be very careful with the way I raise my kids. For instance, my kids will question you and they will drill you on some topics. Fear will catch you. Fear will catch you. So you've got to prepare yourselves. You are not going to. How are you wasting so much money on your children's education? I expect them to just believe anything you tell them. I didn't believe my parents when they told me that Cain married one of his sisters. I said, which of his sisters? What's the sister's name? The sister does not have name. Where is it in the scriptures that it was written that he married his sister? So if I didn't believe 25 years ago, I don't expect my kids to believe now. You get me, my dear sister. So anyway, a lot of people are asking. They said because we wanted to talk about lightning today, after talking about Governor Ikpeazu and all the other things. We want to talk about lightning and lightning strikes because we are in that time when there's a lot of lightning activity. Nigerians will say thunder killed the person. Thunder doesn't kill anybody; it just makes noise. But we are used to noisy things, so maybe that's why we give too much credit to the one that kills is the one that doesn't make noise. Is lightning. That one will just come and do tzium and take the person down. Thunder has never killed anybody in the history of the whole world. Thunder that is noise. But lightning, then lightning strikes. And we need to discuss those. So let us look into those right now. What's your experience? Have you ever been struck by lightning? Do you know anyone who was struck by lightning? Maybe this Adasef that is yellow like sardine like this. Maybe it's lightning that struck her. Do you know anyone? What are the superstitious stories regarding lightning where you're from? Let's share some experiences. Let's talk about this, and I'll also share some tips of how to handle lightning related activities. My wrist, yeah. So let's open up the phone lines. Let's check WhatsApp, and then let's discuss.
Okay, to join the conversation, dial the phone number 0700 993 993 993. Hello? Yeah, good evening. You are? Yes, I can hear you. What's your name? Okay. No, we're talking about like now. No, you can have 2 minutes.
What do you want to talk about?
Okay, just a minute. The previous topic. Oh dear.
But which of the previous topics that did he want to even talk about, Seth?
I don't know. Hello? Hello, good evening. Yes, we can hear you. Good evening. Yeah, what's your okay, good evening. Your name please? Alright, thank you. We're talking about lightning. Alright.
Tell him I'm here. Oh. Oh, thank you so much, sir. Those are kind words that I appreciate. All over the world. You're global now, sis.
Alright, good night.
Ada, you're legit global now.
Oh yeah? Yeah, hello. Good evening. What's your name? Your name is? Okay, Francis.
Good evening, Mr. Francis. How are you, sir? Oh, very sweet of him. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, good.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine.
What's your name?
My name is Samantha. I'm calling from Aldo.
Okay, Nemeka. Welcome to the show. We're talking about lightning. Ever had an experience or you know someone?
Talking about lightning, what
Mm-hmm.
does that mean? Should I talk about lightning? That means actually beauty teaching or beauty actually meant to something in Nigeria. But I think I overheard five beauty that for so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that, hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
And I guess it has to do with some of the happenings in Nigeria. So I prefer to speak on that because that's actually what actually changing or affecting so many Nigerians. Correct.
Okay, go ahead. Let him speak about the happenings in Nigeria.
Fine. I see that sometimes it actually was this mess of priority. That's what supposed to discuss. Okay, I like what the speaker is about. Okay, he talked about integrity and of Christ. For sometimes I feel that I also appreciate one that speaks for this and appreciate and say that the life is what one or it's about. But I see that sometimes there is a bit of the double standard or people that are not actually concentrating on actually considering some of the things that are very, very paramount for some of the that affect Nigeria, especially some of the that affect that way normally normally convey to like things. Uh, like you said not long ago, we talked about the right.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you clearly, sir.
Hello.
Hello?
Can you go on? Oh dear.
Oh, wow. Now, he's saying that lightning is not particularly important. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why am I talking about lightning? Maybe it's my fault because we have so many things we've talked about today. We haven't really talked about the reason why we're talking about lightning, which is why I will take us back to the original story about an occurrence here in Nigeria with regards to lightning. Where were you that day when that really big storm happened? Ada, there was one
Mm-hmm.
thunder the other day that woke all of us up from sleep.
At what time?
You that you were sleeping like vampire. You were probably on the air. No, okay, no, it was. I think it was on Friday or Saturday, so you were probably asleep.
If it was on Saturday, then maybe I can hear it because I usually spend my weekend not here. I
Okay,
was far away.
you
Yeah.
were far away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about this particular. What happened? I can't see you again. Anyway, let me bring this up. A 3-year-old lady named Boluwatife has been taken to the hospital by Good Samaritans after lightning left her with severe burns and struck her mother dead. In a video shared online, the little girl is seen written in pain as kind-hearted Nigerians gather to take her to the hospital. Abiodun, the kind lady who rescued the girl, said she found her lying unconscious. So she found her lying on a table on Sunday afternoon. Okay, so that means the lightning happened between Saturday and Sunday. So the girl slept on a table outside overnight after her mother died. And the lightning struck her mother dead, and she remained there till afternoon. Very, very sad. The Lagos state government officials came for the mother's corpse, and they were told to take the child. They declined because they were not sent there for the child. Can you imagine how we think in this part of the world? As in, because they sent you to come and Let me give you what this sounds to me like. It's like mad people planning to escape from a psychiatric institution. So they all plan. They say, "Oh boy, what we are going to do is once we get to the gate, they will come and challenge us. Once they challenge us, you that used to fight kung fu before you went mad, you will beat them. You that were a cultist before you ran mad, you will stab them. You that used to run 50 meters before you went mad, you will just lead the race. Everybody will just follow you." They were now rehearsing the plan. They rehearsed this plan for 3 weeks. Then on the fateful day, they broke out of their rooms in the psychiatric hospital and got to the gate. The gate was wide open and the security men were sleeping. They now turned to themselves. This people don't spoil our plan, sha. We'll go back, we'll go another day. You don't understand. The gate is open. The security guards are asleep. But as long as that plan that they came for is not working, they cannot continue. Because their own plan was to beat and disarm the security gates that are now sleeping and the gate is open. So they sent you to come and pick a dead body. You now go there and see a child in pain and you abandon the child and carry the dead body because you were told to come and pick dead body. Who did this to us? And we'll be there protesting about George Floyd in a country where they call police and police comes in 2 minutes. Who did this to us? So it actually happened in Lagos State, and from this story, I can tell that that lightning was between Saturday night and Sunday morning. I remember watching movies with taste buds, and then we finished a little bit late, like 3 a.m., and came into the room to sleep, and the rain was heavy, and we just slept off. It was like 20 minutes into the sleep. We just jumped up, the whole house, biddy, 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 hey! We thought the world was about to end. So, more calls coming through. Let's talk about this. It actually is a matter of national importance.
Okay, who do we have here? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Abia.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, gorgeous. How are you doing? God bless you all. Thank you, ma.
Hello? Please go ahead, we can hear you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And these are things we also need to discuss in this part of the world. Adam Blazy,
Yeah.
thank you very much for that caller. We can't run away from these things. We've run too much. An average Nigerian doesn't know what precautions to take with regards to lightning and all that. And since one person died in Lagos, I think it's something we should talk about.
Yeah, because this is actually rainy season. It's going to be happening, and we all need to know this so we know what to do exactly.
Exactly. So more calls coming through.
Hello? Hello? Hello, good evening. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing? We try to take this topic off religion and y'all just bring it back to religion.
Hello, we're actually done with that topic. We're talking
But
about
just, okay, just let him just contribute so that he will not say we will not let him contribute. Let him just contribute.
I want to say something.
yeah, but we're done with it. So sorry about that.
I wanted to comment on the words that he spent in talking. Yeah, don't worry. Why, if our spiritual leader cultivate this habit, and we know that church is not a school or church is a place of learning, and the church is the Bible is not a storybook that you can go to university as a lawyer or a doctor and now use your idea of what you learn in school, or you can read the English and now use to interpret the Bible. That is very, very wrong. So in the story of that happened in the book of Genesis, that area is actually there is a generation. That story of Garden of Eden, it is a figure of speech, like things that is running in the Adam's mind. Like you are in the studio now, you are just imagining that you find yourself in another country. Like the story of in the Garden of Eden, let us go this and that. And then there are a lot of points in particular that our preacher or our leaders don't pay attention to. And they like to just use facts, not follow the content or the message of the Bible. Why in the message of the Bible, the one chapter of the Bible, the meaning might not be in that chapter. It might be in another chapter or chapter before that one. Or the next part of the Bible. So with the way that the thing explaining, it is very, very correct. Which Cain, there is another generation. God said, "Go, let us create a man in our own image." Does not mean that it's that particular time. God actually creates the world. So that is my point. So thank you.
Okay. Ada, what sayest thou?
I really wanted to ask a question, but he went off. He's saying that it may be in the chapter in front or the one behind. Where exactly? He wasn't specific, telling us it might be. So,
You know, at the end of the day, it all boils down or boils down to one thing. And that thing is the fact that we don't have answers to everything. And it is unfair for any teacher to teach us what he himself is struggling to find answers for, especially when they teach that with authority. Coronavirus has been a very big eye opener. You've all seen that your spiritual leaders are not as spiritual as they claim to be. You've all seen that praying for prosperity does not necessarily bring prosperity. You've all seen that paying tithe into the storehouse of God does not mean that there's going to be meat in God's house, because most of the time the tithe is used to take care of the pastors and their families, not necessarily the entire church. Do you know, as we speak now, we still pay out our 5,000 naira stimulus package, Ada, to our members as of today, and we still paid last week. This has been the 7th. I don't think there's any church in Nigeria that does not collect tithe and offering that is able to take care of its members weekly, especially members that have been pointed out as dedicated members over the period. There's no one that has shown dedication to the free nation, online and offline, that is not being catered to in one way or the other. But it's not like this in all the other big churches. I'm not saying this to put them down. I'm saying this because I want the formula they're currently running to be tweaked. I want it to be adjusted. We cannot go back to that same mentality. People have lost their jobs. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So in support of what the guy said, there's a lot that needs to be adjusted with regards to our theology. Just saying. So, more calls and more contributions.
Abiodun from where? Okay. Okay, please go ahead. Hello, good evening. Yeah, good evening. What's your name?
Good evening, sir.
For example, let me ask this simple question. What is the meaning of death and what is the meaning of life? Can something that is dead live again? You see, it said in the Bible, it said Jesus died for 3 days. That means that 3 days, Jesus was unconscious of what is happening in the heaven and on the earth. He knows nothing for that good 3 days. Before the 3rd day, he was resurrected back to his former
All right, Ada, we have 3 minutes left. Is there anything you want to say or maybe read messages?
Okay. This one is still talking about Cain. Also,
Ada, we cannot run away. Do you agree that we cannot run away from religion on this show?
of course.
Because we'll carry it to lightning. 2 calls we call about lightning, the rest will go back to Cain. And we're not the one that started the Cain matter. It was somebody that called us. So I don't know how it is that we're going to. Good night, Ife Chisom. Don't forget you are joining us on Wednesday for the Osu Talk. Oh, Ife Chisom. People help me beg Ife Chisom. Back to you, Ada.
Okay. Who was Cain's wife? The Bible's answer. Cain, the eldest child of the first human couple, married one of his sisters or another close female relative. This conclusion may be drawn by considering what the Bible says about Cain and his family. Fact about Cain and his family: all humans descended from Adam and Eve. God made out of one man, Adam, every nation of men to dwell on the entire surface of earth. That's Acts 17:26. Adam's wife Eve became the mother of everyone living. Genesis 3:20. Therefore, Cain must have married a fellow descendant of Adam and Eve. Cain and his brother Abel were the first of the number of children born to Eve. Genesis 4:1 and 2. When Cain was banished for killing his brother. Okay, I don't know what's wrong with the tab.
It's quite a lengthy one. Absolute bollocks, I'd say. Absolute bollocks, I'd say. Yes, the scriptures say everybody was meant to come from one man and one woman, but once again, that's a Pauline concession. That is Paul's understanding of it, and it doesn't cover everything. I'll give you an example. Are you ready? Okay. What is written? This is the Genesis chapter 5 verse 1. This is the written account of the descendants of Adam. When God created human beings, he made them to be like himself. He created them male and female, and then he blessed them and called them human. When Adam was 130 years old, he became father of a son who was just like him, in his very image. He named the son Seth. After he named his son Seth, after the birth of Seth, Adam lived another 800 years and had sons and daughters. The scripture is very clear. After Seth, Adam did not have sons and daughters before Seth. And by the time Cain was born, if you go to Genesis 4, the previous chapter, and read the end, let's read it together. Genesis chapter 4 verse 17. Cain had sexual relations with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. Cain founded a city which he named Enoch after his son. Enoch had a son named Irad. Irad became the father of Mehujadel, and Mehujadel became the father of Methusael. Methusael became the father of Lamech. Lamech married 2 women. The first one was Ada, the second one was Zillah. Ada gave birth to Jabal, who was the first to raise livestock and live in tents. He was the first. There was nobody else doing this. Listen to all this. His brother's name was Jubal, who was the first to play the harp and the flute. The first of all who played the harp and the flute. Lamech's other wife, Zillah, gave birth to a son named Tubal-Cain. He became an expert in forging tools of bronze and iron. Tubal-Cain had a sister called Nama. One day, Lamech said to his 2 wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. Listen to me, you wives of Lamech. I have killed a man who attacked me, a young man who wounded me. If someone who kills Cain is punished 7 times, then the one who kills me will be punished 77 times. Who was the young man that he killed? That wasn't one of Cain's sons, wasn't one of Cain's sons. It was a young man as described by the scripture. Then you now go to the very next verse. Adam now had sexual relations with his wife again and gave birth to another son. She named him Seth. Now, the very next chapter breaks down all of Adam's descendants. And it does not speak of any other descendant in between Cain and Abel and Seth. So there's a lot of mystery here. You can't just jump into conclusion and say he married one of his sisters. Okay, let's even he married one of his sisters. Who was the man that Lamech killed? A young man. If everybody came from the same descendants, Adam and Eve didn't have any more children. This young man is not one of his own uncles, sons, brothers, who we know. They mentioned everybody, Jubal, Cain, Methuselah. Everybody's not one of Methuselah's children. Not one of. Who was the person? So there's a lot of unresolved issue which comes from incomplete scriptural evidence. Paul said something. Paul was a scholar, but let's also remember what Paul said. Paul said, when I was with the weak, I was weak. When I was with the strong, I was strong. How much of what Paul said can we really hold on to if we don't have backup for it somewhere else? So yes, it is good to be, but okay, sorry, let me just leave it like that. What do you think, my dear sister? I've officially rounded off. Join us same time tomorrow. It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for, it's always great having you around. And I hope that tomorrow will get all soft because today you started off being soft, but later went hard. And tomorrow we promise we're going to be soft on the show.
Yes, we're going to be soft. If you guys can stay away from religion, can't you people stay away from religion for one day? If you don't do religion, will you people die? I'm just asking you. Love you all.
Thank you so much, Daddy Prince. Have a great night.
God bless you, my darling. See you tomorrow. Lovely hanging out with you guys.
Okay, and that will officially draw the curtain on Life and Dangerous with Daddy Prince. Officially the trust the show to written girlfriend and our blessing start.
Okay, guys. Lovely hanging out with you. It was an absolutely amazing day. Join me tomorrow, 2 p.m. I'll be having an interview, the greatest reality show interview with a guy called Melvin Ejiogu. He's the one who put that together, and it would be absolutely wonderful us sitting down and discussing this in depth tomorrow. So please join me tomorrow, 2 p.m. All of you guys, please. On Wednesday, I'll be having Reno Omokri. I'll let you know what the schedule is and how we're going to get to do this. And like I said, please don't forget to join us. God bless you. Take care of yourselves. We love you.